From the moment Pokemon reprints were announced, the market responded almost immediately, and we are now seeing the effects playing out in real time. Though before we get into this video, I'm actually gifting this awesome Pikachu secret rare from Crown Zenith. Now this is actually one of my favorite Pikachu cards ever made. Now to know if you won this card, if I reply to your comment with this Milotic with a mystery gift emoji, then congratulations, this Pikachu is being sent your way. And if you are new to the channel, I just wanted to say hi, my name's Phil. I run this Pokemon investing and collecting YouTube channel, which was started a bit earlier last year. Feel free to subscribe to join the growing community. Though reprints seem to be a word that can make people have different responses, right? On one hand, collectors can get pretty excited as they're given another opportunity to secure products at reasonable prices, and it's almost like getting a free revive, right? Whereas on the other hand, some people who believed in the product and then invested in the product can get a little bit disappointed as they did take a risk and it was already showing that it was paying off, and now they're essentially back to square one. Though I actually personally think reprints are incredibly necessary for what's happening right now within the Pokemon world, given the fact that scalpers are running rampant, people are spending way too much on Pokemon products, and the secondary market's out of control, and something really needs to give in. And I also think reprints give the opportunity to let the money kind of disperse, right? Because currently all the money is focused on Prismatic Evolutions, Journey Together, and now it's going to be on Destined Rivals. Though it's really interesting. Let's look at this right now. All right, so here we are on Twilight Masquerade booster box. Now, honestly, Twilight Masquerade has actually seen a little bit of a decline since the reprint news came along. You can see at the start of March, Twilight Masquerade was selling for around 234 US, and currently it's gone down to $206. That's really due to the reprint news that's come about because, a lot of people don't want to be too bullish at the moment. And you know what? It's actually weird seeing this right now, man, because sealed Pokemon products have just been going up. I mean, check this out. If I pull this in the last 6 months, you can see right here, literally from November, from 149, this has just gone up all the way to 230 USD, and now we are seeing a little bit of a pullback, but sealed products across the board are just going up, and you know what? They're very hard to find at the moment for reasonable prices, and I think it's actually well overdue to see some dips in the market because, it has been inflated for quite a long time. Now, also, while reprints are a big topic at the moment, if you are looking to stay up to date for when reprints hit shelves, a great tool for this is PokeNotify, which is the paid partner of today's video. Now, PokeNotify is a paid Discord service which automatically notifies users when a particular item is released or restocked at specific retailers. To get the most out of the server, it's best to set up your notifications correctly according to your location. If you take the time to set this up, you're going to get accurate notifications delivered the moment a restock or reprint is available. And especially right now when we have reprints coming along with Prismatic Evolutions on the way, Journey Together is going to get some restocks, and Destined Rivals is coming soon. If you want to try it out, there is a 3-day free trial available, and if you do use my discount code, you actually do get 25% off on your first month. All the details are within the description of this video. Now, another one on Twilight Masquerade that's really interesting is the Eevee, right? Now, this card was always pretty desired. It was definitely loved, but you can see the Eevee right now was selling for $88, late February, and right now it's dropped down to $77. Though if we pull it into the 3-month graph, you can actually see that the dip has been more substantial than that because the Eevee was actually at a high point of 103 USD, and right now down to $77. Now, that is a fair bit of a price reduction given the percentage decline, right? Because you got to think about it. People now are getting a little bit bearish, right? Not because reprints are going to flood the market or anything, but I think people are thinking, well, maybe I can sell them right now and buy back later. And don't forget, people are a bit confused right now because no one knows where it's going to go. I mean, with the whole Destined Rivals and how that release went, that was kind of foreshadowing maybe how future products are going to be. But with all the reprints that are coming out, right, I do have hope that there's going to be a lot more product that enters the market, and hopefully with this new product entering, people are able to get some Twilight Masquerade. People may be able to get some Surging Sparks or Paldean Fates because, all the money and the eyes are going to be on Journey Together or Prismatic Evolutions and now Destined Rivals, right? So I do have hope, but at the same time, can the supply keep up with the scalpers? Can everything happen? Because you got to remember, right? People go like, oh, why can't Pokemon just print more products? Well, right now, I'm telling you, man, Pokemon is really printing a lot of products, right? Last year, they printed something like 12 billion cards. I mean, it's getting pretty wild on how many cards are getting printed at the moment. You got to also remember, right, that the psychology of the collector has changed. When people collected 5 years ago, right, people would buy maybe a booster box and maybe a more dedicated collector would keep on sealed. Right now, that's not the case at all. Nearly everyone who opens products right now also keeps one sealed. That is a very common thing. 5 or 6 years ago, that really wasn't the case, right? People just opened the products and they didn't really care, or they didn't even think that there was gonna be some future growth, right? The paradigm has shifted with collectibles. And that's something that people need to account for, because people don't just buy products anymore to, open packs. People really do like collecting sealed. And the whole investment side of collectibles is really big at the moment. And unless something shifts in that arena, I don't really see that changing. So Pokemon really need to print to kind of meet that demand of people who like to keep sealed product as well. Now, moving on to another interesting one is Paldea Evolved booster boxes. Now you can see, while Paldea Evolved hasn't come down, you can see right there on that graph that it has kind of paused in its market movements, right? Paldea Evolved was sitting around 160 US at the end of last year, and you can see right now selling for 216. But you can see, definitely, if I pull that in the last month, you can see how the market has just paused even a little bit of a dip at the end. Now, Paldea Evolved did get confirmed that it would get a reprint, right? Though what's really interesting about Paldea Evolved is the chase card of the set, which is the Magikarp illustration rare. Check this one out. Look at this, man. In the last month, you can really see Magikarp is falling down in price. Now, what's really interesting about this, and while I do love this card, I do think for an illustration rare, man, it is so pricey. Look at this, man. Earlier in March, it was selling for $280. And when this whole reprint news happened, this one really took a sharp decline in the market. Currently selling for 241 US. Now, I do think it's because it is an illustration rare, right? I do think that does play a major factor in its decline, because the fact that an illustration rare is already selling for 280 USD, to me, is a little bit too high at the moment, right? Don't forget as well, if you do get this raw, there's a 20% chance it's going to get a PSA 10. So, the quality control in this Magikarp isn't that impressive either. So, very interesting to see where this one's going to go in the market. Now, moving on to Surging Sparks, which also has a reprint confirmed, you can see the market movement of the Surging Sparks booster box has also been kind of up and down. At the start of March, selling for 265, and right now selling for 256. So it hasn't really gone down that much in price, but definitely the market has calmed down. Usually sealed product, it just goes up pretty slowly and pretty consistently, right? But you can see Surging Sparks is kind of holding back. And to be honest, Surging Sparks does deserve a reprint. It came out last year, November 2024, had so many things going for it, because, you had Pokemon TCG Pocket that just released at the exact same time. So many people entered the TCG world. Everyone wanted Surging Sparks. It did have the Pikachu SIR chase card. So, a lot of people love that Pikachu, right? I didn't mind the Pikachu. I actually did prefer the Milotic and the Latias, but you can actually see the Latias is also coming down in price. Check this out. Here you can see the Latias in the last 3 months. You can see the reprint news really had a massive impact on its price. In February, selling for around 254 US, and you can see as soon as the reprint announcement came to the market, check this out, man. Now selling for 223. You can see in the last month, definitely going down. A $20 decrease is pretty significant considering the fact that it's so quick, so soon. I'm interested to see where this goes, because to be honest, this card is pretty cool, man. So the fact that it's coming down in price like this, I wonder where it's going to level out. Will it keep going down? If we do get a lot of Surging Sparks to come on the market, maybe this one can come down a little bit more. But don't forget, man, it still is a special illustration rare. It still is a Gen 3 classic. So, it's anyone's guess where this one can go. And of course, the Pikachu chase card as well has definitely seen a decline because of the reprint news. Pull this into the last month, selling for $486, currently selling for $436. A $50 price reduction. That's a lot, man. So I'm interested to see where the Pikachu kind of ends up. It is a pretty cool card. Maybe was a little bit inflated. I think a lot of people were looking for, like, what's going to be the next Moonbreon. And I think when Prismatic Evolutions also came about, with Prismatic Evolutions, so many cards are near that price point as well. So this card was one of the most expensive cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. No, it actually was the most expensive card for the Scarlet and Violet era for a little bit of time. But then again, Prismatic Evolutions only released like 2 months after this card came out. And the price of this Pikachu isn't really even competing with the Umbreon at the moment. Now also, while talking about this, if you do want to connect with the incredible Pokemon community, feel free to join my channel's official Discord server. You'll actually be first in line to find out about Discord exclusive giveaways. We've just surpassed 6,000 members. Feel free to join. The server invite is in the description of this video. Now, another one that's really interesting is the Obsidian Flames Charizard SIR. You can see this card was selling for around 85 US in January this year, currently selling for $65. Pretty significant price decrease given the fact that it's dropped $20, but its market high was 85. So it has had a fair bit of a percentage decrease. Now, Obsidian Flames, I think a lot of people are now looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. Even when Obsidian Flames released, people did not like the set. I'm still not that big of a fan of Obsidian Flames. I actually think it was a massive step down because when you had, sets like Lost Origin from the Sword and Shield era, we had Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, and then we even had Scarlet and Violet Base, which was pretty good. You had Paldea Evolved, that was pretty decent. I felt that Obsidian Flames did take a big step backwards. You did have the cool Pidgey line there, but the special illustration rare roster did leave a lot to be desired. And I do think some of the illustration rares like the Ninetales would have been cool to see in a higher rarity, but nonetheless, this is the top chase card from Obsidian Flames, and it isn't performing that well at the moment. Now, another one is Paldean Fates booster bundles. Now, we have heard that Paldean Fates will be getting a reprint as well, but selling for a high of 61 US, and right now selling for around 54. Now, that is pretty interesting to see that the market with the reprint news has taken a step backwards. If we go on the last 6 months graph, you can see that this was consistently going upwards, and you can see right at the end of that graph right now, a little bit of a dip has happened, especially when the bubble Mew right now is having a big market correction. Check this out. As you can see in the last 3 months, just looking at that graph, that bubble Mew went right up and now it's kind of coming down. You can see it was selling for $265, went all the way up to $405, and now coming down, sitting at around $349. Now, yes, it is much higher still from the December period, but then again, a correction has taken place, especially with the reprint news for this card. Very, very interested to see where this bubble Mew will go within the next year, but that all depends on how big the reprint of Paldean Fates is. Now, reprints are incredibly important when it comes to investing in collectibles, and they are a natural part of the cycle. However, I think a lot of newcomers are wondering one question when they enter, and that is, how can I actually collect Pokemon cards while on a tight budget? And that's actually a very fair question given the current state of the hobby. Well, if you are looking for some proven tips to collect on a budget, I actually reveal the answer within this video on screen right here. Within this video on screen, I actually go over in detail on how to collect Pokemon while managing life at the same time. Click the video that's appearing on screen and I'll see you there.